Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I am the Reverend Father Paxton James Chance. I am the leader and founder of the Hopeshine Church of Polyspiritualism. I'd like to start tonight by first apologizing for having been gone so long. Once again, it's been a pretty rough past few months for me. I think it's been pretty rough for a lot of people lately. And so that brings us to the topic of tonight's conversation. Why is there so much suffering in the world? If there really is a God or a higher power, a compassionate being, why allow all of this suffering? Well, I'd like to just initially boil that down very concentrated, and then I'll further explain in detail. I believe that we grow through pain. I believe it is the Buddha who said that life is pain. We're born into these material existences, in this material world, in these material bodies, with the ability to feel. And I think that the only real meaning to any of that is we're here to experience. So that's the whole point. To experience what it's like to be human. And unfortunately, part of that experience is pain. And I think nothing really makes us feel more human than pain and suffering. It's the one thing that helps build compassion and empathy, and promotes and inspires, charity and the desire to heal and comfort. And those are all very beautiful things. I mean, just think about it. Out of all of the people in your life that you feel the closest to, the most connected to, how many of those people do you share like a deeper suffering, an experience of pain and suffering with, like that you relate to in some manner? We're all very inherently selfish beings, and I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm not saying that as like an insult to anybody. I'm saying it as a statement of just fact and reality. We are born into this world, these helpless infants. All we know are our physical material needs. We feel hunger, we feel cold or hot, we feel the need for comfort and shelter and food and all of these material self-aware things. We're not built in a way that we are able to fully experience the world through another human being's perception. We have only ourselves, what we see through our own eyes, what we feel and experience within our own selves, within our own lives. And I think that what creates the biggest empathy is experiences of pain, because we know what it feels like, and because we know what it feels like, we're better able to empathize with other people. We're better able to accept other people and want to help other people. And it all comes from that personal space inside of ourselves Think about it. This whole world, it's go, go, go. It's so busy. There's so much noise out there. There's so much out there all the time. It's hard to be able to really focus on anything and everything. There are so many causes to support, so many different types of suffering in the world, and we can't all be there for everybody all the time. It's just not possible. And I think we are presented with our own challenges, our own pain, and our own suffering as a way of bringing awareness and understanding and compassion, and also narrowing that down so that we do have our separate communities of support, separate causes that we believe in, and that we work hard to help others who have gone through similar things. So it's important that we have that experience in order to grow, in order to develop into kinder, more compassionate people, in order to drive us to help others and to help alleviate suffering in the world as best we can. I also believe that there are times when it's the universe or God's way of making us have no other choice but to stop and reevaluate things. As an example, a few years ago, I was very focused and driven on a set path towards a certain goal. And I probably experienced what I would describe as both the biggest spiritual crisis of my life, on top of the darkest, worst time in my life in regards to like the lowest point of my life, my deepest depression. And initially I didn't understand. I don't want to say that I completely lost my faith. I just think that I felt abandoned by the universe. I felt like I just was so insignificant. I didn't matter, or worse, I was being punished. This was some grand punishment that this thing had happened to me, that everything that I'd worked so hard for so long had just been ripped out from under me by circumstances beyond my control, something that I had dedicated myself fully. I've always struggled with like pretty severe anxiety and depression. I'm autistic. I've got quite a bit of trauma past in my life. So up until that point, I had spent a lot of time getting in my own way, letting the anxiety or the depression keep me from doing what I wanted to do, keep me from becoming the kind of person that I wanted to be. And so I felt as though I'd never really achieved much of anything, if anything at all. And this was one point in my life where I threw myself in 110%. I did not allow the anxiety, the depression, the trauma, and the triggers, and the sensory overloads, and all of that. I did not allow myself to get in my own way. I was moving forward. I was blasting through. I was kicking ass, pardon my French. Like, I was doing it. And I was so close to that finish line. So close, when just yank, there it all went. And that was really hard for me to contend with. It was really hard for me to contend with. There was part of me that felt like the universe had owed me for all of the pain and all of the struggle that I'd had to endure growing up and in my early adulthood, everything that I had to go through, you know. And I also, like, I felt as though I had earned it. You know, I was proving myself. I was overcoming all of this. I was rising above. I was manifesting. I was doing all of the things right that I was supposed to be doing, and I still lost it. I guess I just couldn't understand why this had happened to me after everything that I worked so hard for. You know, it's not like I was coming at this from an entirely selfish perspective either. I wasn't just doing this for myself and my own ego. I've always felt this drive inside to want to really make a difference in society, like a real positive difference in this world. And, you know, coming from a place of having been brought up poor and disabled in certain ways that I am, I've never really felt like I've given much. I've always felt like I've just been sort of existing just to survive, and if anything, a drain and a problem and just a whole bunch of other really negative things that I don't really want to get into. So the whole point of this was I wanted to prove to myself that I was worth something, that my life did have meaning, that I was here for a reason. And I wanted to be able to make a difference to other people. I didn't want other people to have to feel the same way that I had felt. I wanted to be able to support and provide, and so I didn't understand where I had such noble intentions. You know, what's that whole quote about the road to heaven is paved with good intentions or something like that. But what I hadn't noticed is that while I was so focused on this goal for 5 years, solely focused, I'd been letting everything else go into the background. All of the relationships that I hadn't been maintaining them. I hadn't been around for other people. I hadn't been available. I'd been so focused over here, I wasn't paying attention to the people in my life, the people that I was doing this for. But what ended up happening is that despite the fact that I had isolated myself and alienated myself from everybody, and I withdrew into such a deep depression, I don't think I've ever been through a darker time. With everything that I've been through, I think that was probably the darkest, the hardest. But then something happened as time went on, and I'm just sitting and wallowing, marinating in this misery, this feeling like I'd been abandoned and betrayed and kicked down. You know, I just wanted to stay down. I didn't even want to try to get back up because I was afraid I'd just get kicked right back down again. May as well just stay down, not even try. That's where my headspace was at the time. But something happened that I can't make much more of an explanation for, other than just something beautiful. And that's the fact that despite me having ignored everybody and pushed everybody away, not been paying attention for so long, the people in my life that really cared about me were there for me. They were still there, and they made themselves known. And they persisted. They wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let me give up. They wouldn't let me sink into the dark pit and never come back again. And it wasn't until then that I realized that maybe all the time that I thought that I hadn't been making a difference, I've been making all of the difference. One small little relationship at a time. One little interaction at a time with each of these people, building up and building up. Where I had been there for them when they needed somebody, when I'd shown compassion, when I'd been accepting, when I'd been non-judgmental, when I'd been supportive, when I'd given my time and my heart and my ear and my company, all those little things, I was getting it all back, like tenfold in return when I needed it the most. And that's when I realized that is where the difference lies. That is where the beauty lies. That is the whole point to everything, is those connections. They might not feel like much at the time. You might be focused on other things. You might not be paying attention. You might not be caring or thinking much about it. And that's sad, because there's so much impact there. We have so much impact on one another. And I think it took that particular suffering for me, that particular trial, I kind of look at it now as sort of like a big old cosmic slap to the backside of the head, you know, like, wake up, pay attention, look around you, see what's happening, see what has happened, see what you've already built and what you already have achieved, and see how beautiful that is. And I think it was that experience that got me into an even deeper space within myself, and that connection that I have to the universe and my own faith now, and in not just in myself and my path, but that the universe does know what it's doing, and I'm not just some insignificant little spark left over here in the corner that nobody's paying attention to. Every little soul counts. Every little person, every little interaction, every moment, it all counts. It all adds up. Even if it's just a smile to a stranger when you're crossing them down the street. That one little smile, that one little interaction can make all the difference in the world. And so I think a lot of the reason why we do have to endure pain and suffering is because it puts us in a place where we are able to better recognize that in others, and we are more motivated to, and more driven to want to help, you know, to want to share ourselves and our own stories, and to offer compassion and sympathy and any kind of aid that we can, and grow together and be each other's guiding lights. That's what it's all about. It's about that connection. It's about that light that drives all of us, that's inside of us, that connects all of us, and growing that light bigger and stronger and brighter. I can't think of anything else more beautiful than that. Can you? Anyway, I'm sure this video has gone on long enough. I'm sure there's also so much more on this topic that I could cover. If there's anything more that you'd like to know about it, feel free to comment or ask. Come visit the Facebook page. It's just Hopeshine Church of Polyspiritualism on Facebook. As always, please like and subscribe. Be sure to hit that notification bell so that you will be notified when a new video is up. And most importantly, and I say this at the end of every video, most importantly is share. If anything that I've ever said in any of my videos resonates within you, has helped you in any way, shown you comfort when you've needed it, or, it's just something that you feel inside, that, that's the biggest thing for me. It's not really a knowledge so much as it's just a feeling. Like, it's in my gut. Like, I think about these things, or I have discussions about these things with other people, and it's just this feeling inside that lights up, and I'm like, that right there. It's that right there. That's it. That's truth. That's it. And it's... I don't even have words for it. It's just... It's an amazing thing to share. So, please, pass it on. And I hope to see you all again soon. Good night, and as always, God bless.